I shared one more thing inside of Patreon yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And it just really struck a nerve because recently in the news, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Disney had an agreement to have certain scenes of the Moana movie to include AI generated images of him, basically getting his likeness to be used in the film. That's not him, but it's supposed to be him. Okay. So he made an agreement on that. So that had a big ripple in the creator space. And what a lot of people fail to mention is The Rock agreed to it. The Rock and his team, they agreed to those AI terms. Everybody was just sort of tossing the story out there like, Disney is using AI, and then they had to crush and destroy the footage because it was so horrible. No, that wasn't it. Okay, yeah, the footage that they captured or created may have ended up being horrible, but Disney did what they wanted to do with the agreement from said talent. They didn't sneak and do any of this stuff. Okay. They didn't go behind The Rock's back. They went to The Rock. The Rock and his team clearly signed off on this and got some type of compensation for it. You know, I don't know what it is. Nobody seems to know what it is because nobody's talking about that. But you don't see The Rock going out there and saying, hey, I can't believe Disney was going to do this to me. You don't see any of that, do you? Because he agreed. He agreed. So with that said, it made me think about that. Something that happened to me made me think about that story. I shared in Patreon how I got this. There was a casting call out there because that's what I do. I go out and I look for gigs. And the gig was for another tech company. As usual, I tend to get those. So why not apply? And they want me to portray some type of executive or what have you, you know. And they always have certain terms in some of those postings. And if I remember right, I thought it said that it was talking about AI because a lot of these companies want you to be a part of their AI marketing campaign. Okay. So I applied and boom, they was like, cool, we can cast you. And they sent me this message. Okay. And I've redacted some of the sensitive stuff in here because I don't want to throw them under the bus totally. I'll tell you more momentarily. This message says, hey, this is so-and-so, the casting director from so-and-so. Thanks for your interest. Few important things to note. The project involves recording your reading of a short script to help build an AI model of your voice and likeness. The client will receive perpetual unlimited rights to use these recordings for AI model training. The use of AI may include synthetic representations of your voice and or appearance in a video or audio content. Participation requires you to sign a release covering these terms. Recording will take about an hour and it must be done in person here in the city, San Francisco. The pay is X amount of dollars for this project. Are you interested in moving forward? And if you have questions, let me know. Alrighty then. So let me go ahead and tell you, I was interested in that project, but not for those terms. Okay. Not for those terms. And another super chat. Another super chat. This one comes in from Ozone Nightmare of $10. He says, agree that the man has the right to do with this likeness what he wants. I'd never do anything like that. But I'm also not getting a lot of cash offers to use my face, so it's a lot easier in my case. Thank you for the super chat. Ozone Nightmare says, I bet he also had a kill fee. Yeah, and that's possible too. Again, The Rock and Disney had an agreement. So there were some lawyers involved. Okay. And that when they signed off on said agreement, both sides were happy enough to move forward. Okay. That's all I'm saying on that. Now, this thing here that was offered to me wasn't for gazillions of dollars. All right. It was a decent pay. It was decent pay, but not for these terms. Okay. I was literally going to be working for an hour. Decent pay for, if you break it down by per hour. But I knew that the long game on this is different. That payday for me is only going to last me so long. Said company, said clients, or what have you, they're going to make potentially way more than what they were going to pay me. And I get that. But where's the line? You know, I've been in a bunch of different ads and shoots and so forth, and they've paid me well. But I know that they could potentially make more money because of my name, image, and likeness. But the pay was fair. The use cases were fair. Use cases here, they're saying, all right, we're going to use your face just this one time. But after that, we're going to use an auto-generated version of you for as long as we feel like it and not pay you for that. So, no, I'm not cool with that. And some people, I'm sure they'll ask, well, what is fair? And that's a hard question to answer because every scenario is not going to be the same, right? I put this up against when I used to do headshots for people. I didn't charge everybody the same amount of money for headshots. If I was doing headshots for the neighbor next door, let's say I charged them $100. Okay. I wouldn't charge them $100. Let's say I was charging them $100 for their headshots. Now, the manager at this apartment complex that's looking to go and be an executive somewhere or what have you, I'm not charging them $100. I'm charging them more, different values there. Okay. The long game is different. So when it comes to this AI stuff, there is a price. I did counter with this producer, because actually my first message was to let them know I don't agree to these terms. It's not fair, And they were like, well, the client may be receptive to a counteroffer. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, I'm assuming they knew someone was going to balk at that and be like, nah. So I sent my counteroffer that I felt was fair. And it's got nothing to do with those terms. I'll just say that. Nothing to do with those terms. I don't have a problem with my name, image, and likeness being used. I don't have a problem as long as I'm compensated fairly. I'll say that. I don't have a problem with my name, image, or likeness being used as long as I'm compensated fairly. If you want to throw AI into the mix, that's a whole different variable. And when I started thinking about this a little bit more, I said, well, let's use AI and see what AI says about this scenario. So I went into Gemini and I went into ChatGPT and I put this prompt in. Let me see if I can paste this here safely on the screen and show you my desktop here like so. All right. So I'm asking Google Gemini and I'm using just fictitious numbers. If a company wants to use my image and likeness in perpetuity for $50, should I request they pay $2,000 instead? Okay. Totally false numbers, but I was just trying to sort of think outside the box and see what AI was going to say. It runs through. Yes, you should absolutely request higher payment than the $50. Okay. Then it breaks down. Oh, there's a super chat. Hold on. Dang it. I didn't see that. Rats. Go back over here. Super chat just popped in. Woo! $5 super chat from Cinder Fractal. She says, love Team Pruitt. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. It still didn't show up. There it is. Now it shows on the screen. Thank you so much. And she also says, yeah, legal implications of current technology. Many people are not technically aware to notice this, I think. And okay, that is very, very fair, Miss Cinder Fractal. And that is why people should have agents. People should have some type of representation to look through NDAs and contracts and stuff like that. I've been doing this for 2-something years or so now. And so I've sort of gotten used to reading through all of these things and just sort of building a better understanding of the game, of the industry. Excuse me, didn't want to cough in the mic. So I know to understand my worth. Previously, I was on set for another gig. And it was getting ready to do the shoot and whatnot. And they gave me my paperwork to sign. Excuse me. They gave me my paperwork to sign. And when I started reading through it, the terms didn't match up what I had online from them previously. I was like, hey, this isn't the same. And you know what it was? It was one word. One word. It was talking about broadcasting to television. Nope, I didn't agree to that initially. So I marked through that on the contract, put my initials, and took it to the representative there on site. And said, hey, I don't agree to this, so I'm not signing this yet. So what could have happened there? I get kicked off the set because I didn't sign the terms. They don't do the shoot at all and have to go and find someone else. Both of those things could happen. Or they say, hey, which is what happened in my scenario. Oh, this is wrong. And they corrected the document and I signed a new one. And of course, took a picture of it and saved it for my records, you know? So we got to read this stuff, man. And I know when we're dealing with bank accounts as broke like mine, it's really easy to see big dollar signs and just sign away. No, we gotta be a lot more disciplined. But I put that into the Google Gemini AI, and it was like, hell no, you basically need to ask for more money. And it says why perpetual rights are so valuable. There are no time limits. There's no future payments. You lose control, you know. And then it also goes into how to negotiate for a much more fair price. There's things to consider, like the company's reach, your visibility. Like if you have a lot of following on social media, you know, because you are a brand yourself, you know, the usage scope, the exclusivities, all of that stuff has to be considered. And I did the same thing for ChatGPT because it's two different AIs. I was curious to see if something else would happen. And ChatGPT agrees. And it's like, yeah, perpetuity is forever. Once you sign, you lose control over how, when, and where the image is used, even decades from now, you know? And we have to think about that stuff. Commercial value, the leverage. And it says counter with the $2,000 and then clear the terms, you know, specify the scope and the media types. And then you have other alternatives that you can look into, such as using it for 1 to 3 years of rights, you know? And I'll go ahead and tell y'all firsthand. A lot of the stuff that I've been a part of here with all of these different shoots in Silicon Valley. First off, God, thank you for those opportunities. When I read through those things, those are the kind of things that I'm looking for in perpetuity. Because I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you in perpetuity. And most of them nowadays, they know that shit ain't going to slide. So they'll put in there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. They'll put in there. And it depends on the shoot, depends on the company, you know. I'm fortunate to now have an agent that will look through that stuff for me. But this one here, I caught it. This was I submitted for it on my own without the agency, because it was out of their jurisdiction, if you will. And like I said, I didn't tell them no, but I definitely sent them a counter offer, because you can pay me to use my name, image, and likeness, NIL, in an AI. You can pay me. We'll see what they say. It's gonna be on my terms, though. You put it in that AI, and it's gonna be on my terms. So